Christian Duke from StrengthAddicts.com. So as many of you know, I wrote a great article titled The Real History of the Confederate Flag, available exclusively at StrengthAddicts.com. And for several days, I was sort of harassing Dave Palumbo, who I think of very highly, to give me a comment for my article. At first, he said he was busy doing this thing. Then he said he was busy writing Heavy Muscle Radio. Then he said he was busy at Team Universe. Then I don't know what else he was doing. Basically, he didn't want to give me a comment. He asked me what the poll question was. I gave it to him again. He just didn't want to answer. Personally, I think he was just too scared to answer, but I don't know. In any event, I wrote the article and I was about to publish it, and the day before, I guess he got wind that I had a comment from six-time Mr. Olympia, the Shadow Dorian Yates, and because I think Dave has a fascination with Dorian Yates, he wanted to know what that comment was in exchange for him, giving me press for my article. But you know what? My article had comments from Colette Nelson, Ruth Silverman, Joe Pietaro, Jerry Branham, Robbie Robinson, Brandon Curry, Charles the Tank Dixon. I mean, just so many people. Tad the Diet Coach. And I didn't really need Dave's promotion. But in any event, on Monday night's Heavy Muscle Radio, Chris, the technician Aceto, asked Dave Palumbo about hanging a Confederate flag or something like that. And I think that kind of forced Dave to talk about my article and forced Dave to talk about me. And he called me a nutcase and a child. All sorts of things. So in any event, there's no such thing as bad publicity in bodybuilding unless you're like a rapist or some sort of a creep. Anything else, I don't think is bad publicity. So Dave Palumbo calling me a nutcase, I mean, I'm in good company. There's a lot of nutcases in bodybuilding. And you know what? If I was just an average guy that, he could use or whatever, then he probably wouldn't talk about me. But the fact that I'm who I am, and the fact that Chris's technician Aceto mentioned me, I think, got me 10 minutes of airtime on, the one and only RX Muscle, the holy grail of bodybuilding. And I wanted to thank Chris Aceto, whose number I had before, because I was on a conference text with him and Dave some months ago, and I had asked Dave for Chris Aceto's phone number, much like I've asked for other people's phone numbers, but I guess the next day, Dave wrote me back and said, no, Chris doesn't want you to have his number because Chris is a very private person. So I wasn't able to text Chris, so I would like to thank Chris here on this video for mentioning the Confederate flag, thus getting Dave Palumbo to talk about me and what a nutcase I am, which I appreciate because it's publicity, and also talking about my article, which is phenomenal. You should check it out at StrengthAddicts.com. It's only available there. And I just wanted to thank Chris. I know he's a very private person. And I, of course, don't like calling people unless they're cool with it. If they're like, taking a hot bubble bath or something like that, or gardening or whatever, I don't like to call people because, if they're very private, I get that. There's a lot of people that are very private and they like candles and they like to just be very mellow at home and wear, whatever they want to wear at home. And I get that. And I don't want to violate Chris Aceto's privacy or violate him in any way, shape, or form. So I appreciate Dave reaching out to him, and I appreciate Dave's candor in telling me that Chris is a very private person. So Chris, I hope that I am not violating your privacy by thanking you on this YouTube video, because I think that you mentioning the Confederate flag created a sort of domino effect in which Dave Palumbo had to mention me and my article. He forgot to mention my website. He doesn't remember my website, even though he tried to get me to migrate my website to RX Muscle. He didn't remember my website, but I believe that Dave Palumbo is a consummate professional. He is probably the best contest prep guru in the market after, people like Tad the Diet Coach and Dave Lieberman and Trey Hodge and a few other people. But he is a very, very good person. I like him very much. I think the world of Dave Palumbo. And I think the world of you, Chris. Even though you're a very private person, thank you.